Well, good morning, as we're sitting here at LTV on this beautiful morning, Thursday morning, May 30th, year 2024, here with the Hello Show. My name is Haim Mizrahi, continuing with the tradition of public access and, of course, the tradition of the Hello Show that's been on the air since 1980. Of course, not to fail to mention the contribution by Fraser Dougherty, whom had a lot of help, but happened to be second to none. And of course, Francis Ann alongside him with great support for LTV. And of course, the likes of you out there to make it your business to enhance and fortify this concept and bring it about to life in ways that is nothing less than admirable. And we want to be able to uh, import that feeling from one dimension to another, from one medium vis-a-vis one medium to another, and to see when we speak of the light at the end of the tunnel, it's more like the tunnel that gets lost in the midst of light. Claiming territory, so to speak, and that's like putting it mildly. Of course, if Steve Ron was sitting here with me or next to me, he would have three different kind of creative comments to what I just said. And it seems like the less he understands me, the more he can comment on it. And I always thought it really it takes a talent to be able to do so, to comment so much on so little information available. But and yesterday, Reggie Cornelia mentioned that whenever I have the opportunity, I bring art into the equation of the discussion of whatever the nature of the discussion is, and I thought to myself, I'm thank God that he notices it, even though his point was like, how can you really associate art and bring it into the equation and uh, point out the relevance every time over and over again. And then I realized that the only thing I need to really share with people when they feel like this way and they tell me that, I tell them, take a deep breath, and then when you're done with that and you need to go down again to take another deep breath, you do exactly that. And you do it like two times and four times and maybe five times, six times. And you do that, and you feel blessed every time that you actually have that available at your disposal. Of course, at least, public access, for example, it gives you a stage to thrive through the kind of a person that you are, through the kind of personality that you have in place that speaks for you as a human being, as an individual, as a person, and also that tomorrow didn't look so much different than yesterday. And of course, the ongoing aspect of the now is something that is too busy negotiating with so many things, as art does not wait for anyone. It just thrives 24/7. Then you find yourself really making friends with your friend, creating a friendship on the basis of the existing friendship, only to end up with the same kind of friendship that you had along to begin with. So these kind of things are welcomed into the world of experimentation and improvisations. Uh, I built a whole career as a drummer on the basis of um, um, I don't want to use the word experimentation, but more like um, seeking the alternative. And once I find it, I kind of in, instantly mimic the revelation itself, and quickly enough have the ability to create my own. But still, I don't abandon uh, any kind of friendships that are taking place, and then I the level of conviction directly to that medium that you are engaged in is becoming more and more coherent and becoming more and more effective, more and more practical. And it seems like many obstacles that used to take place in the past don't show their faces anymore. And even if they do, they show it in a different fashion. It's almost like the same character poses a challenge or a new obstacle or a difficulty. Only so it wants to improve your performance because you're going to have to use some of your vital energy in order to get rid of these obstacles. And then when you go back to deal with the thing itself that spells what your life is all about, and then you realize that you needed every bit of energy uh, that you could have had, and you immediately think about what you just wasted because you had to uh, spend some of it in order to get over some hurdles, in order to uh, resume the wheeling and dealing with the hands-on action, live placement of compositions, and never turning around to consider any kind of regard to uh, none of uh, none of the that which makes you worry because the mountain of information is growing every second, grows over and over and over and on top of over and over and over, and it doesn't speak in the language of obsession. It speaks in the language of disciplines um, and some kind of a maybe a new type of conviction, a new type of. I remember in the early on of the my experience, I learned that actually I have something that I thought if I wouldn't have had that, I probably had to slave and go through a lot in order to make it like second nature. The fact that I um, I I realized that I was kind of catching myself pausing a lot, and it can also happen while you're in the midst of discovering, recovering something with with music or with writing, uh, or with painting, um, and you always keep yourself open to absorb the um, the um, the discovery of the discovery the discovery to recovery. That's the way I saw it. So what happens is that your discovery quickly enough is informing you that you're actually talking about that which is preconceived and pre-placed and pre-organized and pre-rationalized and pre um, self-formalized, and and at first it's you're puzzled, and then you realize, my God, what a relief! So much less to deal with by way of preparations. Like kind of enemy number one. I remember early on, 20 years ago, I used to go to my studio, and I used to look too much to the right and to the left, like checking as if I'm there for the first time, and whatever, and some music, and I would make myself coffee, and you're talking about 10, 15 minutes. It's too hot outside, it's raining outside, it's too cold outside, it's snowing outside. Inside is just like your place, and you look, and then it's all good. But then quickly enough, I realized, okay, so if I was to do that, and I'm going to be in the studio between 1 to 3 hours and between 3 to 7 hours, yeah. Um, and, and at the end of the day, I'll be equipped to see how well I did by being able to catch me red-handedly being up to no good. Anyway, I realized I'm spending a little too much time wandering around, and what was the, and I got into the bottom of it, and I realized I really don't have to do that. I just need to increase my awareness, and just like it's just like you quit smoking, you're doing well. Now and then you will feel like this. Wow, you're like catching yourself looking for a pack of cigarettes, and it's been a while that you haven't been smoking. So, but there's some automatic infrastructure that never goes away. It can be tamed, covered, concealed, but it cannot go away. So it comes on the surface, and then you're finding yourself looking for cigarettes. Of course, you're not going to smoke it, but then yeah, you give it respect. It's not going to go away. It's just going to show up less often and less often and less often. That's what would be spelled as an achievement. But then, when I changed this attitude, I put most of the weight of that level of philosophizing and process of philosophizing during my journey to the studio. When I was on my way to the studio, I would always have 10, 15, maybe half an hour till I get there, kind of thing. Never minded when I left the studio, I left it so it would be compatible with me understanding where and how I left things off when I left. And so I was working together with myself in order to be kind to myself. So when I will be reintroduced to that, it won't take long before I realize or will already know where I am. So if I decide to work immediately, I can literally go in, turn the light, take off my jacket, whatever, get a 30-second kind of getting comfortable. Here's the canvas number two, canvas on the floor, three stations. You're capable to open as much as seven stations within the given space that you have. Without obsession. Obsession was taking place when this whole structure was being put together. Then obsession was celebrating in order to achieve the foundation to be responsible for the important fundamentals, because that will be the source that will serve us as we'll always find ourselves going back to square one. Go back to basics, go back to square one, go back to square one. Therefore, you go back to basics, go back to basics, go back to basics, and therefore, you you go back to square one. So you need the reservoir of established, um, self-established aid kits, AID, KIT, and and that level of awkwardness is just coming in, and just as it's gently and smoothly and swiftly came in, you find it on the way out. All is good. It's almost like, it's an oil change of some sort. You go there, Jiffy Lube, you go in, you pay $60, it's done, no appointments, no nothing, and you actually literally feel lighter. Okay, I got something to look forward to. Um, so the beauty lies within the camouflage of uh, of that which is pre-established, meaning all the art, everything that's ever been said, everything that's ever been painted and will be painted, and so forth, and all the music that has been played so far, towards the music till the end of time, and all this is all being established, but with one difference is that you shorten the legs of this stage, of this podium, and of this immediate vicinity slash ground. Um, Shorten the legs, so you kind of feel a little kind of lower. It's almost like accelerates the race, but only for the short term, for the short run, and then but then still enjoying the widening of that zone of comfort that's so crucial for you to have and to be available. And the room that it leaves in the path of uh, of those uh, um, never-ending daily givens. This is how much you really need to find yourself traveling. Which way you go, how many rights and how many lefts is really irrelevant. But you're going to have your 55 miles or 71 miles or 39 miles. This is your given. You're going to be traveling today. So, anyway, so what I'm trying to say, so how am I not going to be able not to talk about that? How am I not going to be able not to make a point that indeed this is what carries the world, not me, something that I happen to love and be passionate about and try as hard as I can at least to create things so it will be something to show for. That means so I'm okay. So I'm establishing some credentials. Is it wrong or right? I don't know what, but some people maybe think that you should know about that more, about whether it's wrong or right, whether it's good or bad, whether things like that. And I said, well, I'm glad to hear it from someone because then I know that I don't need to worry about it so much because there is some individual right in front of me that's worrying about it pretty much intensely, doing a good job. I shouldn't say a thing. I should just kind of, make sure that my face expression seems like I'm, uh, I'm, I, I can relate to what you're saying, and I don't think I reject any of what you said. And you kind of have, basically speaking, you have my support. Going back to square one, going back to basic, you know, like like now with all the drumming. If you, I don't know if you notice, but around the world there's the trend of drummers. You go to Instagram and all this. There's a full body of work by drummers that are just new age. All these kind of desperate, though very fruitful acts of completely externalizing your uh, that which is controlled and that which is uncontrolled in terms of beat and rhythm and therefore there's a certain amount that only a certain amount is needed from you. That vehicle is already on the go, and so you kind of feel like you're joining your. I'm in for the ride. Like this lady once told me, I'm in for the ride. And I looked at her and I said, oh, I think, ah, I think I love her because she's a part of my undeniable heritage of romance and intimacy and whatnot that eventually would have to spring from within in order to serve us on the surface. So you find yourself in the impossibility of commencing or in the impossibility of being faced with clusters and um, non-yielding, uh, changing energies that for some reason were here yesterday and I have the feeling will be there tomorrow. But and then learning slowly that if you kind of ignore it long enough, kind of thing, in a very gentle way, it it will not go away. It will just be kind of friendlier. So that feels good, Not before you get to that point that you realize that you got some help, that then you understand what was it that was draining your energy and making you feel concerned out of nowhere. there's room to be concerned, but it's like being concerned about something that wasn't there a second ago, and it's up and it's down and it's in and it's out and down and it's up and and all you're trying to do is really like engage yourself in that reality that you have a guarantee from Mother Nature that the end result of this interaction coming together uh, will yield nothing less than at least something that is definitely good by nature. Good by nature means that any encounter with it will contribute goodness, you know? And and if I can stand in front of if I can stand in front of my canvas, or if I was to envision any of you out there standing in front of your canvas with a brush, with paint, and you painting and you're telling the canvas that you're going to change the world. And something that you otherwise would never find yourself saying anywhere under any circumstances. But here you are alone in your studio and you can do and say whatever you want. As long as you know, so long that you know that you indeed um, fulfilling the expectations, The whole village worked hard to put this money together to send you to the big world, to save yourself, to save them, to save them, to save yourself from the misery that this world has bestowed for you, prepared for you to tackle you with that, and see what you got. The world is working for us, that woman, to see what you got. Show me what you got, something like that. And so if you will become a casualty, you will become automatically non-existing. There's no retrieve to the background and nurse your wounds and come back. There's no coming back. You're done. You can only please yourself. You can only be found somewhere happy, but not being able to do anything other than waiting and dealing with yourself. Outside yourself, no ability, no jurisdiction, nothing. You cannot operate there. So that's why it's important not to allow complacency to feel like it owns any of your of the space that that your presence is being dictating. This is a volume that speaks for that minimal consumption, uh, and that consumption happens to be some of the ingredients that make you who you are, or at least, yes, that, and in addition to it, that potential you that you think will never grow anymore. I mean, it's like you can become 89, 90 and still feel good, but still you won't be able to help yourself. But thinking about the fact that you're so very old and that math doesn't work well now to figure out how much you have left, and you're healthy and you full of vigor and you're happy, and then you realize that you got to this stage because mainly you thought about that, about life like that, like, you know, where is that gonna get me? Look, I love that when I hear myself say that. Where is it gonna get me? Where is it gonna get you? Where's it gonna get me? Yeah, you're right. At some point, you can make fun of everything and anything, and you can make fool of yourself and the world or whatever. But no matter what, at some point you get to you start looking around and there's so much paper, so much stuff. But you're opening, you're looking, you're trying to make sense. Nothing makes sense. You don't see anything that speaks to you. You don't even understand why it's there. You just want to take a big box, which I did. Boom, and put everything in. Never mind that I will go back to it and torture myself a few times more before I can start that process of recovery from that which I thought was so constructive and inspirational that will actually cause me to find myself uh, being derailed and saying, "Oh my God, it's so much fun, but yet so final, kind of borderline suicidal, but not physically. You want you realize that your ideas, some of them are committing suicide because they just tired uh, of your negligence. You know, you don't. Okay, so then you realize actually life is taking action, and as far you know what, we've been around for long enough. If you haven't noticed, we're out of here. And when they say we're out of here, they're already saying it from the outside because they were out of here before that, and they're actually communicating with you from wherever that is that happens to be out of here. And so, yeah, when you get to the early stages of the second step, you realize that life is a little easier because you entering a territory uh, that have a lot of regard and respect for achievers. But it doesn't have to be like achieving so much. It's just achieving, and that sense of being kind of constant, you know, a sense of tradition, the high self-regard, you know that just a little bit of that and just a little bit of that and that and that and then it's like it, when you look at Tai Chi, the same thing. It's like you wanna call the world, all the world to come to you. But you was doing it mainly because you can't feel it really. You can't have find yourself in this in a scenario where too much is coming in and you cannot digest it or welcome it any longer. You made sure that the entire world is coming being filtered through you. And not because it's fiction, it's because your system is so compatible with it that it doesn't make you feel like something unusual happened while it's actually conquering the other half of the world. So you know already also that you don't need um it's not it's you when they say cut me some slack and you're the one who's been uh, uh, has his slacks being cut for him, um, will be only where and when the slack itself will decide that and it might end up all this goodness might end up being washed long before you would even know that it was actually heading meant to be for you. But you never even got to see it because it operated in this ancient worlds that it does go through every day hundreds of times, but you'll never know about it. And even if you will know about it at some point, you're better off not knowing about it because it's over. So of course, so all this wheeling and dealing, you have to put a very sophisticated mechanism in place in order to save you the hassle, the bother of you worrying. Oh, you know what? I'm only a human being. You know what? I can end up. Yes, you are. Yes, I am. Yeah. And you're doing your max. You find yourself sometimes doing, I'm doing my best. I really, he's doing his best. I'm doing my best. I really am doing my best. And then you look at yourself and you feel like, you feel somewhat like as if it's so pathetic. You feel that about yourself, being pathetic. But then just a second later, it's like, you realize that it's way too serious and meaningful to be pathetic. Okay, so you go back to square one. Those basics that you're gonna find there will tell you that um, the rituals that are taking place in order to complete corners and to stabilize otherwise shaky and rocky and wobbly um, surface, because it needs not only they need maintenance but so frequently. Uh, and then slowly but surely, you're doing all the right things, maybe trial and error, maybe it took more than once and this and that, but eventually you made it work. You made it work well every time. And you were the one that's actually being operating. And even if you got some help, you were still at the helm and you kind of leading this vessel. Fine, nothing wrong with that. So if you want to dwell, yeah, I guess I can be okay with it. And maybe if you think about it ahead of time, you build yourself a little square somewhere. It's like a tiny closet. You go in and you do your thing. You scream, you sweat, whatever. You come out. You can go about your merry way. You go out about your merry way, and then and then you feel merry yourself, and then it's yes, it's a relief. It's a relief because that hour that went by is going to drag through, and on top of the surface, it's actually going to uh, push one more hour into the third one. That both will take a ride on the slippery backs of established data, that all will happen to be yours at the end of the day, even though it's already yours now. But there will be no certainty when you start concluding at the end of the day. And so, relationship to public access, relationship to be living in a place where, an acceptable level of decency, is being promoted, enhanced, and uh, uh, encouraged, interested, increasing awareness, I always tell my kids, be mindful of your surrounding. Be mindful of your surrounding. I don't even know what I'm saying. It's just being a parent, You worry, you freak out, you exaggerate, whatever. Be aware of your immediate surrounding. Be aware of your immediate surrounding. And I think that maybe when I'm a little obsessed like that, it's the message is getting through, I think. Be aware of your immediate surrounding. Look right, look left. Don't be obsessed. Just be aware. When you start with that awareness, all you need is just a little tiny bit of it that will last you the whole day, the entire day. No matter what, you're never too safe uh, not to consider that you need to be aware of your immediate surrounding. It's a must. Um, and the sooner you get your kids to grasp this and this really understanding of what that it really means, and maybe they don't want to deal with it because they always spell something bad. Someone's going to hurt you. Someone's going to take you. Someone is going, Yeah, well, um, it's just like in the Kabbalah, they're telling this story about when they say there's a sentence that they say that the law says, the biblical law says that you need to fence in your rooftop, and so the one that's going to fall from it will not fall from it. Uh, so So it was very, actually, it was very tricky. So like, at first I couldn't understand it. So he's saying, so why do you mention twice? Why do you say that whom is going to fall or will not fall? Why you keep on mentioning, repeating fall? Because it's understood if you say, so no one will fall from it, but not the one that's going to fall from it will fall from it. So they say, well, if that who's going to fall from eventually, let's say your rooftop, uh, because you didn't put a fence or if it's then, um, he is going to fall from a roof no matter what. If that's his destiny, obviously, yes, correct. But why should it be from your roof? And I remember when I learned that, it was like, ah. And, but the more I think about it, the more I realize, why should it be your roof? And if your roof happens to be the place where you, uh, you know, praise and thank Mother Nature and the Lord and God, then you want it free and available and accessible at all times. Yeah, wouldn't you? Yes, you would. And you want the interaction of worshiping to be frictionless, smooth, easygoing, decisive, precise, and so on and so forth, and so much more. So to say that you can be detached from something and that will spell separation, that spells like uh, um, out of sight, out of mind, you know how they say it, whatever. But yes, sometimes you need to adapt this kind of approach, technique, touch and go, you're done, you're good to go. But so when I find myself bringing art into the equation of that particular moment, that particular discussion, that particular interaction between people, works for me because I don't need to get a permission or a clarification that whether that can, if I'm going to bring it into the forefront, it will really work for me because I believe that it has the answers and it will react and act in a certain way. So I'm based on that. I want it close. I want to bring it closer, and then because you know evenly about the nature of things and the nature of that which you're so busy putting together to become a thing. And then the relationship between them is something you don't even spend a second to think about because it's just you created the life that's going to take care of its own needs and it's going to also build the rationale that will be unique to its personality. And I might have some influence in all that because I kind of put it together and and if I whispered the last whispers into the entity that I just was about to unleash and release into whatever the predictable and the unpredictable, it will be like don't forget about goodness. Don't forget about goodness. Do not forget about goodness. Don't forget about goodness. Make it your business. Make it your business. A lot, all the time, as much as you can to to make a point. So anyway, so you see that, you look right, you look left, you realize that the stage is wide, and yeah, and you realize you don't need to like worry for every step you take because it is some spacious. It's pretty spacious, you know. You get enough to both left and right and back and front and back. So you're actually at ease with yourself while you're feeling very stable and very sturdy, while you're actually rationalizing a statement, a declaration. You know, I am this God, and I believe I came, and then you know, it's all music. And actually, you can really, if you are like me, uh, try mediums, cross implementing, interacting, inter whatever, then you are the Um, uh, even that logic is left behind traces of um, uh, 3D components uh, that carry a brain with them and capable of shifting in ways that are in itself embedded. I mean, saturated with ideas that are brilliant. And then you realize you can notice so many things, because you just happen to live and condition yourself for this reality all your life without knowing, a little bit knowingly, and mostly without knowing, unknowingly, stuff like that. But but suddenly you see this. Wait a second. You don't even say. You're familiar. You feel familiar. You feel that this you got right into the heart of it. So as it opens up in the middle of the story. But you realize that you're doing fine. You realize you don't need to be. You know what happened already. You've been there. You haven't been there. You've been in there. There. You've been there. As much as you say, you've been there. There. In and out together at the same time. And therefore, you're calm, you're reserved. You know that your punch is mighty and firm and um, decisive. And you know that sometimes the process needs a bit of that. Just to remind God who's boss. I mean, that's when God needs to remind himself who's boss. He has to. Um, you have to teach infinity about timelessness. So, and so you go on, and so you bring it into the equation, and so you mention it as much as your heart desires, and so you bring it to life every time you think there's any ounce of irrelevance, and you know that there is, and you know that your anticipation and your reservation and your assumptions are pretty close. More often than not, close enough. It's close enough. It's enough. Uh, and then you think, well, there happen to be hundreds of millions like me, really hands on. And so, and we already established you don't have to be anything or anybody. If you're painting, you're painting. You're painting. If you're singing, you're singing. If you're writing a poem, you're writing a poem. Soon we're going to have a poem. We're not going to find a scenario where you say, we're going to write a poem, and then you write a poem, but the poem is never ready to be submitted. It, it, it happens, you know. So with drums, it's a little more difficult to mess up, even though people think that you would fail if you don't know how to do that in with the drums. Then it's like whoa, but it all falls into place because you gambled and you actually that was a good gamble and it pays off, and you do walk around a little lighter, and you stop asking yourself, if you just in case you know the where am I going or am I coming, which way am I going to, which way am I coming to, and therefore going away, and going away uh, kind of closer to what you know yourself to be, and that's these are real thoughts about real things that take place when it comes to that alternative reality that one chooses to for oneself, because he wants to do something different without necessarily acquiring about the essence of that which is different, because obviously it would be new. he, there's no need to pause or to stop to wonder about the nature of this new strange uh, thing, whatever addition that wasn't there just a minute ago. No need, no need, no need. If it has arrived here and was accepted, we already know everything we want to know because we know how tough it is to apply, to compete, to this, that, and then and to be chosen as the one. Okay, so here we go. So because you know how to extract and how to lead and how to uh, um, uh, stress and how to pinpoint and how to bring it up, how to inform, and how to choose the right communication, the right channels, the right venues, the right, and you just keeping it simple so you can maintain and making people feel like they know what to expect. You know how important that is, how powerful that is when you know what to expect. And so far, you haven't been disappointed, not even once. And you're still doing that which is based on the fact that you know what to expect. I love that. I love the sentence. You know what you expect. But in um, so in that routine, and I can't resist myself from having this is actually very delicious. So I want to take the liberty to get a bite of this delicious. Mm, 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 amazing. Some coffee. Wow. Mm, look at that. Look at this. I love it. Yes, everything is so lovey-dovey. Let's see if it hasn't expired yet. Mm, I love it. I'm gonna leave it here. That's awesome. So let me just remind you that we're sitting here on Thursday morning, May 30th, year 2024, here with the Hello Hello Show. My name is Haim Mizrahi, continuing with the tradition of public access and, of course, the tradition of the Hello Hello Show that's been on the air since 1980. And we are actually concluding with the solo exhibition by Matt Rayner, a wonderful artist. And this show is coming up by Monday, June 3rd. And we are getting ready for the next group art show that's going to be, the title of the show is if um, uh, growth phase. Growth phase. PHASE. I love it. And we have uh, let's see. I'm actually so this is going to open on June 8th, Saturday, June 8th, between 4 and 7 here at LTV. And uh, yes, yeah, let me see. Okay, so again, for this coming Saturday, not this coming Saturday, the Saturday, June 8th, we're I'm putting another group show together called Growth Phase, and it's the participating artists will be Renee Galanti, Mariah Dempsey, Donna Corvey, Anthony Lombardo, Chris LaCour, and Haim Mizrahi. So, looking forward to it. Saturday, June 8th, 4 to 7 p.m. at LTV Studios, 75 Industrial Road. And I love that. I mean, you can see, I don't know if you can see, but wonderful poster that Chris LaCour put together, as he usually does, help us with his time and expertise, and we're very appreciative of that. So, yeah, I wanted to just do this and do this because this actually influences me. Very, yeah, I'm going to do this. Here we go. How about that? Yeah, yeah. Oh boy. So I just wanted to conclude because again, how if you're not sturdy enough, if you don't have enough strength, people's comments or remarks or just little tiny insignificant episodes that are taking place can take a great toll on your potential future development and realizations of your potential of who you are, who you are, who you could be, who you would be, how much influence, how much impact your work has, any kind of work. Um, I um, and then just imagine just leaving yourself open to so many things that you cannot sit and contemplate and guess that indeed are going to take place. That you leave enough room to be surprised 50 more times, and 50 more times than your initial ability to think that you got things under control, or you understand, or can you relate. Yes, you can, but Mother Nature, if it decides to accelerate, man, there is no way of catching with it. Nothing. You're gone. You're so behind. You're going to be so behind. You will be insignificant. Nobody will be able to find you. Nothing. Zero. Air bubble. Now, on the other hand, we're talking about existence and thriving and survival, and the concept of foraging spiritually and emotionally. And you're going around. Like once I told my daughter, you can be by age 18, anyone for that sake. You take any friend of yours, 14, 15 years old, and you give them some fundamentals, give them a plan. By 18, they will be established artists now. And again, explaining to them that to be considered as an established artist is not about good or not, capable or not, talented or not. It's about your deposits, your volume of work. So that means, I remember when I first started, it was like this sense of insecurity was so incredible. Every time I managed to create things that are like really, really demanding, really difficult, and I did it and I made it and all that. It just seemed like um, um, I know what to expect. And there's a level of certainty there lingering, and it makes you feel good, makes you feel solid, makes you feel predictable. Probably only one of the only times that predictable will actually have a positive connotations. But um, you gather always, all day long. We gather, they gather, we gather things. You create, and even the biggest hoodlum and bully will. I spoke to her and I told her, uh, those who usually bully people, they'll come to your openings in high school, anywhere. The beauty of art, you can portray it and show it everywhere and anywhere. There's a way to put it together. But then the bully won't get near you if he has any up to no good intentions. His evil will not be able to survive around the implications of your energy. It's just no way, no way. It will instantly, upon impact, evaporate, disintegrate, and there will be fear to cause friction with people like you because you're so creative, you're so creative, you're so creative, you're so creative, you're so creative. Just 3 months ago, you had a show with 35 new paintings, new looking, good looking, delicious, tasty, wonderful, appealing, and now 3 months later, you have like almost 40 new paintings, different subject matter. I go, what the heck, man? And then you stop wondering because you just want to get busy counting. Let me count how much this individual did. So you, the 14-year-old, you, my daughter, you, the 15-year-old, and in that background, you introduce a desire, and I don't really like the word desire so much, but uh, the the that which is on the agenda, the that which is on the agenda, i.e., to that which is important, and you will look it in the eye, and because your pure soul is still not contaminated, and it still has so much room for acceptance and tolerance and flexibility and resolve like this. You look at the canvas, and there's a whole pile of canvases there, and you got everything. And the more you look right and left and around, the less you realize the less excuses you have to justify any slow downs or any delays or any no, non-existing, 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 non-existing. It's not like it's going to happen and we're going to get rid of it. No, it's non-existing, non-existing, non-existing. It's not here. It's not it. It's never. It's nowhere around. Okay, and then you get to a point where the epitome of goodness, and you just you know that you can now in the position to repeat it almost identically every time. And I'm talking about the feeling, the attitude, the attitude, that face expression that speaks for a state of mind. That state of mind, a direct, automatic, pure, identical imitation. But it's not the imitation that you're accustomed to because you own everything. You own the imitation itself. You own the desire to imitate. You own that which has been imitated, and you own the source for the imitation. Everything. You own everything. It's you. It's who you are. And that's just one aspect of it. So I'm sure there's like at least another 3,000 layers there. It gives you 3,000 reasons why you don't have to worry about the outside world in case the outside world becomes a problem. And that's what I explained to my 14-year-old. You can be an animal, but an animal of creation. Bullies will see you walking past by them and they'll nod with respect And because they remember in the back of the mind that wonderful painting out of so many paintings in the last show that I ended up experiencing. And it was her. She did it. It's unbelievable. So they bully people, and suddenly they find themselves admiring artistic attempts by a 14, 15-year old. Why? Because he or she or they put their mind into it. They wanted to work. They wanted it to work. They wanted it to become a reality. They wanted it to work. They wanted to do everything they can to be responsible for the fact that it will happen, it will work. That's that belittles evil and bullies and whatnot. And you can be whoever you are, but you will be the if you'll be that person that actually, oh, you're the one that showed that happened to me so many times. That someone says, yes, 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 of course. Oh my God, you're the artist. I went to that show and it was just so beautiful. And you look at him and just you want to hug him or her, whatever, and say thank you. So maybe you do it, maybe you don't, but you're happy. You're happy. You see the extent of it. You see, and then you start thinking about not enough years, not enough time, not enough. Become frustrated. And it's okay. You can allow yourself to be frustrated from what that how much more time you need that you don't have, and how many ideas and how many this. But you know that it's working. You know that which you're not gonna get the chance to do, the next generation will do, and the next generation will do, and the next. It's just that simple. And so maybe they cannot relate to it now, but you plant that seed. I plant that seed. I had no one plant seeds for me. Uh, and, and mostly those that I really wanted for them to plant the seeds for me, they weren't capable, even if they wanted to. But they showed goodwill. They shared with me by telling me we would have if we could have. And that's genuine enough, and I can appreciate that. So sometimes you don't have to take the entire journey with people in order to improve and to enhance friendships and love. You just need realizations. And and then they will always know that and anticipate that tomorrow and next week they'll see another exhibition of yours, and they'll know it's going to be meaningful and different and changing and whatnot. They know what to expect from you. And you know what they feel so comfortable when they know what to expect when it comes to you. So you're freaking out, which is okay. In that case, it's okay. You can freak out. Say, shoot, I need to keep with the program here. Man, these people, all this goodness, it just sounds like unbelievable. And then, so yeah, I think we're done. I went past the hour here. We're going to be here tomorrow as much as we were here yesterday and as much as we're here this morning on Thursday, May 30th, year 2024, here with the Hello Hello Show. And my name is Haim Mizrahi, coming up with a new show. We're taking down Matt Rayner's show and a wonderful exhibition. And just so much creativity here at LTV. Be good, be well. We pray for you. We love you.